What's good, Guilty Gang? You are now tuned into the first episode of Talkin Guilty podcast, where we say the names, spill the facts, and shine a light on the stories and victims they tried to hide. Keyword, tried, did not succeed, okay? I'm your host, Mya, bringing you justice, receipts, empathy, passion, and emotion. And this shit right here is personal. This involves a young black woman with her entire life ahead of her. This is the story of Tynesha Stewart. Tanisha Devonna Stewart was born July 10th, 1987, coming from a close-knit family who thrived on love, faith, and community. Tanisha grew up on support, encouragement, and high expectations. Y'all know how it is, okay? Some of our parents did not play with us, especially when they knew how smart we were, how amazing we were, and how much we could truly reach our full potential. In this case, it was no different. From a young age, they knew that she was this bright young lady that could do so much, that could achieve so much. So expectations were high. Tanisha grew up in a low-income Houston community, but she did not let that turn her away from any of her goals, any of the accomplishments that she had lined. She did not let that affect her or stop her from doing what she needed to do. She always did what she had to do, especially when it came to her academics, baby. One thing about it, she did not play about school. She did not play about her academics. None of that. She was on top of everything. So no, Tanisha did not let where she came from stop her from doing anything. She didn't let it hold her back. However, she never forgot where she came from. Her family did not play and always prioritize education, and so did she. She took that from her childhood and brought it into her early adult life, earning a $40,000 scholarship. Earning a $40,000 scholarship and graduating in the top 3%. Top 3%! Okay, top 3% in her high school graduating class. With that $40,000 scholarship, she went off to Texas A&M, smart, driven, and respected, and she continued her education as a civil engineering student. And within months, all of her determination, hard work, everything that she built to get to this point, all came crashing down because of a grown-ass, pedophilic-ass, manipulative-ass man boy who can't get a hold of his fucking emotions. Disrespectfully. Alright, y'all, so let's go ahead and get into Timothy Wayne Shepard. Timothy Wayne Shepard was 27 years old when this tragedy unfortunately unfolded. He and Tanisha met when she was 16. This man was 24 years old when he met her when she was 16. First off, you're a fucking pedophile. That tells me right there, that tells me everything I need to know. You're a grown ass man. An older man, I don't give a fuck if you're 24, early 20s, whatever. You have no business sniffing around a younger woman, especially if she's a minor. Period. Sir, what are you doing? You're damn near pushing 30, and instead of looking for women your age with bills, boundaries, and a backbone, you're drooling over a high schooler. Red flag number one. As a 24-year-old, what could you possibly want from a 16-year-old? Nothing about that is right. The relationship was twisted from the jump on his part. Let's be real. A teenager and a grown man are not equals. They're not equals. She's still figuring out prom dresses. She hasn't even gone to prom yet. Signing college applications while he's paying rent and pretending he got quote-unquote experience. The math is not mathing. What you see is not a mature connection. It's manipulation. He's not looking for a partner. He's looking for somebody easier to control. Somebody who doesn't have the life experience yet to recognize his toxic and bum behavior. And it gives that you're insecure. Because if you really had it like that, if you were really like that, if you were really confident within yourself, you wouldn't have to chase little girls 8 years younger than you, minors, to feel powerful and to feel like a man. You'd be with a grown woman who can match your energy, but no, you want somebody young so you can dominate the situation. So yeah, for the people in the back, older men preying on a younger girl, it's not romance, it's exploitation, it's grooming, and it's just straight up foul. Back to my point though, before I got to rambling off, y'all, their relationship was doomed from the beginning, especially on his part. More than one witness said that Timothy was controlling, possessive, and physically abusive, including one incident where he choked Tanisha. During the trial, Tanisha's younger sister testified that Shepard physically shook Tanisha during an argument, escalating to a point where he choked her out of anger. It wasn't a slip up or a moment of quote unquote passion. Her sister called him controlling and said that he feared for Tanisha's life. This is about more than just violence. It's about power on full display. When a grown-ass man grabs a teenage girl like that, that's a red flag. It's a red flag regardless, okay? Let's be clear. That choking, again, not passion and not a moment of weakness. That is domestic violence and entitlement in motion. An argument plus a physical shake plus choking, that's a danger zone. That's a message to Tanisha. You're not allowed to walk away. And when Tanisha did try to walk away and build a future and go to school and do what she had to do again, tragedy followed.
Howdy and welcome to Aggieland. We are excited to give you a brief virtual tour of Texas A&M's main campus. We will be highlighting a few buildings and traditions to give you an idea why Texas A&M is such a special place.
Texas A&M is the largest university in Texas with more than 130 undergraduate degree programs and a world-renowned faculty and staff. The university is located in College Station, Texas, affectionately known as Aggieland. Established in 1876, the Agricultural and Mechanical College of Texas was founded as a land-grant institution. At this time, it was an all-male institution and every student was required to be in the Corps of Cadets. That changed in 1963 when former university president James Earl Rudder changed the policy to admit women and renamed the institution to Texas A&M University to encompass the growing curriculum.
So in the fall of 2026, Tanisha began her freshman year at Texas A&M University studying civil engineering. She was focused on her goals, smart, and working every day towards her bright future. While in college, she started to see somebody new, okay? She had her a new little shit. All right, the name of her new boo was not displayed nor confirmed publicly, but referred to as Mark. During this time where Mark and Tanisha were seeing each other, Shepard would frequently call Tanisha's dorm. These calls escalated quickly, getting more and more unpleasant. Mind you, again, a grown-ass man harassing Tanisha, somebody who just stepped foot on campus, somebody who just wanted again to have a good future, who wanted to pursue her future, and she was working towards that. And we got this grown-ass man sitting at home all day harassing her, calling her dorm, and it getting worse and worse and worse and worse over time. Do you not have a job to clock into? Why are you harassing somebody who is in college, a young woman that you're not even with anymore? You're not even with her. Why are you doing this? Manipulative and obsessive. Put this much energy into getting a job because obviously you were fucking unemployed if you had all day to sit here and call her dorm. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So as I said, these calls escalated quickly, getting more and more unpleasant. This is a young woman who simply wants to move on with her life and couldn't even do it without being harassed by her crazy, disgusting, obsessive ass ex. You don't have no bills to pay. You don't have a job to clock into. Mind you, like I said, at the time he was 27 years old. A grown ass man using his free time to make a teenager's life a living hell. So Shepard started blowing up her college life with calls. Tanisha got several calls a day, hitting her dorm line and her cell, sometimes tinted, unemployed, a pedophile, obsessive, possessive. It's just too much going on with him. And this was a consistent thing. And again, it progressed and became more and more unpleasant to the point by the end of her first semester, Tanisha was done. She tried separating and focusing on her studies, building her future, moving on to a new chapter of her life, meeting her new boo thing, enjoying student life at Texas A&M, making friends, and just being the young, upbeat, intelligent young woman that she is. And you would think that that would be a sign to leave her the fuck alone. She's not worried about you anymore. She's simply trying to move on with her life and build her career, build her future, and go to school. And she can't even do it in peace because, we got a grown-ass unemployed pedophile at home harassing her. So you would think that this would be like a sign, like, okay, I need to leave her alone. It absolutely was not a sign. Matter of fact, Shepard got even worse. He ramped it up even more, and it never got better. Like I said, by the end of her first semester, Tanisha was done, okay? And her roommate, Lindsay, noticed a change within her, okay? Tanisha went from being upbeat to going dark, stopped texting, even started to skip her usual check-ins. All of this on Tanisha and dealing with basically being harassed by her ex. It took a toll on Tanisha, and she wasn't even herself anymore, her roommate Lindsay reported. Now y'all know spring break is a motherfucking time. All the time. Beaches, bathing suits, turning up, music, partying. It's one of the breaks from school where you can just literally let loose, party, and just be young, carefree, all that. Therefore, spring break is a time now, and spring break was damn sure a time then. And Tanisha had all of her plans and fun stuff mapped out for spring break. So March 14th, 2007, Tanisha, 19 years old, came home from Texas A&M University for spring break. When I tell y'all she had plans lined up, like I said, spring break is always a time. Come home and just live your life young, wild, and free. She had plans lined up, a hair appointment with her neighbor, get cute, dolled up, all that. And she had plans on going to a Beyonce concert. Beyonce was performing at the Texas Rodeo, and Tanisha was so excited for this. She was gonna pop out. Her closest friends described her as ready to enjoy her break. However, before she did touch down in Houston from Texas A&M University, before she came home from school, she did have concerns about going back home for spring break. I cannot imagine literally getting harassed to the point where I'm scared and anxious to go home for spring break because I know that a predator is literally waiting for me there. He harassed her so much while she was in college that she was afraid to go home. She told her friends and her family that she felt like Shepard would follow her around. And it didn't take long before this happened, because that night she went over to her friend Lois Greenwood's apartment. She hung out, relaxed, and was acting like her usual happy self. And early March 15th, the morning after she came home from spring break, Timothy Shepard, her jealous 27-year-old ex, showed up and picked her up. She told her friend that she'd be back later, even leaving her phone behind, expecting it to be a quick visit. Around noon on March 15th, Tanisha spoke with her younger sister on the phone. She told her she was with Timothy. That was the last known contact anyone had. This is the last time anyone heard from Tanisha, okay? Was that afternoon when Tanisha spoke with her little sister. Okay, Guilty Gang, so like I said, around noon on March 15th, Tanisha spoke with her younger sister on the phone. She told her that she was with Timothy. This was the last time that anybody had any type of contact. The last known contact anyone ever had with Tanisha. After that, like I said, she not only missed her hair appointment, but she did not show up for the one thing that she was excited for when it came to spring break. The Beyonce concert at the Texas Rodeo. She missed that. She didn't show up back to her friend's house to get her phone. She did not show up to the Beyonce concert. She did not show up to her hair appointment. And baby, like I said, at that point, they knew. Her friends and her family knew that something was up and something was not right. Even still assuming that something was a little off, they still assumed that she was just busy. Little did they know, Timothy snapped. I don't even want to call it that. He just had... Like I said, his obsession, possession, manipulation just turned deadly that day. He strangled Tanisha in his apartment after an argument. To cover it up, he dismembered her body in his bathtub, put her remains on a grill, and burned her remains for 2 to 3 days on barbecue grills out on his balcony. Absolutely. A 19-year-old girl. A 19-year-old girl who had her entire future ahead of her. A 19-year-old girl who wanted to go home. Who was, mind you, she was already anxious about going home. She already was scared to go home because of this man. Because he literally just could not leave her alone. Blowing up her phone, the calls, getting worse and worse and worse and worse throughout the semester. And this girl couldn't even go home. She couldn't even go home and come back to school safely. She went back home and got murdered, strangled and dismembered and burned on a barbecue grill between 2 to 3 days like she was nothing, like she meant nothing, by a grown-ass man who could not leave her the fuck alone, who could not accept the fact that she was moving on with her life, who could not accept nothing. A manipulative, disgusting, selfish predator. So soon, Tanisha's family reported her missing. Police investigated Timothy. Why would they not? Of course they would. She was literally seen with him last. He came to her friend's house, picked her up, and she vanished. Okay, so of course they would check on him, and they were right to do so. But although they did investigate Timothy from the very beginning, this man literally was lying to them, misleading them, even took them out to a dumpster as a false lead, just wasting their time, misleading them and bringing them and basically stringing them along, knowing what happened to her the entire time. You knew what the fuck you did to her. You knew what the fuck you did to her. You know exactly what happened. You know what you did. And he still, like I said, he still misled police. Still took them to a dumpster. Wasn't even, just literally lying and misleading them. As he should. Eventually, he did confess. He killed her, dismembered her, and tried to burn away every trace of her. Her scholarship, Tanisha's scholarship, her engineering career, her bright future, all destroyed because a grown, bitter man, I don't even want to call him a man, I feel like I'm giving him too much grace. Like I said, all destroyed because Timothy Shepard could not accept the fact that she was moving on with her life. So the trial began with jury selection on September 29th, 2008 in Harris County, Texas. Prosecutors painted Shepard as a violent, controlling ex who could not accept Tanisha moving on. During the guilt phase, Shepard's defense tried to argue that he strangled her in a moment of self-defense, claiming she took a knife and nicked his finger, so he choked her in fear. Bullshit. Shut the fuck up, ho. Shut the fuck up. Like, that's what I'm saying, bitch. You're a man, right? You're a man, right? You were a big, bad man when you did what you did to her, but you're coming up here claiming self-defense, claiming that you strangled her out of self-defense. So let me get this straight. So you strangled her, quote unquote, out of self-defense. Did you also dismember her body out of self-defense? Did you also burn her body on the fucking grill and barbecue her remains for over 2 to 3 days in self-defense? I'm confused. Like, shut the fuck up. That shit don't even make, it literally does not make any sense to me. Like, that's one thing I cannot stand. When motherfuckers get on the stand lying, claiming self-defense when you knew you had ill intent when going into that situation. You knew you did that out of pure hatred and bitterness. You knew what made you do that. You could not accept the fact that she was moving on with her life. She was in college. She was moving on with somebody else. She was moving on without you. So again, was it self-defense when you were literally harassing her and blowing up her phone? Not only her cell phone, but her dorm line too. Literally blowing her the fuck up every single day. The calls progressively getting worse. Was that self-defense then? Was it self-defense again when you barbecued her remains, put them on the grill, dismembered her in your bathtub, grilled her remains for over 2 to 3 days? Was it self-defense then? Nothing about this says self-defense. I just cannot. If it was truly self-defense, you would have went about it you would have went about it accordingly. You did not go about it accordingly. You went about it in a very vindictive, bitter way. So I don't understand why you're all of a sudden so pussy that you can't even admit what you did, how you did it, why you did it. You can't even admit that. You're just disgusting. Like, I just cannot stand when people have victims, literal victims, and then they have the nerve to get on the stand and paint the victim as the villain. You're disgusting. Get the fuck out of here. Nothing that you did after that screamed self-defense. Was it self-defense when you literally were lying to the police during their investigation? They're simply just trying to get justice for the family and simply try to get answers for the family and do their fucking job, and you're misleading them, leading them to places that had nothing to do with Tanisha. Purposely misleading them, lying to them. Get the fuck out. But you're the victim here, right? Huh? You're the victim here, right? It just literally makes no sense. It does not make any sense, and I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it, and I'm so glad that the prosecution did not buy it either, okay? The prosecution slammed that bullshit self-defense narrative. They discredited it entirely. A bunch of BS is what it is, okay? And that's exactly what the lead prosecutor called it. After just 4 hours of deliberation, the jury returned a guilty verdict for the murder of Tynesha Stewart. In October 2008, Shepard received the maximum sentence, 99 years in prison, plus a $10,000 fine. The death penalty wasn't an option in this case. Yes, let that bitch rot in jail, literally. So let's get into these witness statements. We have a couple. We have James Herbert. Okay, James Herbert was a neighbor and friend to Timothy Shepard. Okay, he testified that Shepard was unusually barbecuing day and night. Mind you, like I said, y'all, he barbecued her remains on a grill, had it burning on the grill on his balcony for 2 to 3 days straight, non-stop. Okay, so again, Herbert, his neighbor, testified that he was unusually barbecuing day and night and refused to share any of the food. It wasn't food. Refused to share any of it like he normally would, and that smell was it was described as something horrible. Quanell X, the activist who assisted the investigation, testified that Shepard told him, "They're going to kill me, man. They're going to give me the death penalty." This moment led to him turning over in custody and guiding them to where he hid evidence. And of course, his confession as well. So the parents of Tanisha Stewart also, they gave their testimony in court, of course. Tanisha's mother, Gail Shields, delivered a gut-wrenching victim impact statement struggling with the grief. I'm sorry, y'all. Getting emotional here. Okay, so she delivered a gut-wrenching victim impact statement struggling with grief. She said, "I still did not believe it. I cannot accept the fact that all of her is gone. You can forgive people, but people still have to pay for what they've done." She described her ongoing therapy, chest pains. Tanisha's sister responded to the guilty verdict with emotional honesty and said, "I want him to wake up every day and see Tanisha's face for the rest of his life. They took out one of God's angels. His real trial will be when he meets his maker." So again, it's like I just cannot imagine how the family is feeling. The pain of losing somebody so close to them, her mother, oh my goodness, losing her daughter, and then having to sit through a fucking trial of this demon literally saying, "Oh, I did it because of self-defense. She tried to cut me. She had a knife. She did this," painting her as this person that she's not. I cannot. So again, he tried to hide behind the knife defense. And sis, the jury heard that and laughed it off. After just 4 hours, they basically said, "Bitch, we're not buying it." 99 years plus a fine. They were not playing with him, and I'm glad that they were not, and I'm glad that they did not buy into that dumbass self-defense narrative that he was trying to put out there. I don't even know how they thought that was going to work. It literally does not make any sense, okay? Especially his actions following the murder. None of it makes sense or align with the fact that it could have been a self-defense. It just doesn't align. It just doesn't go together, okay? Tanisha's mother, broken but strong, said that she can forgive, but justice still needs to be served. And I agree. Just because she forgives him and have it in her heart to forgive him and not hold any type of hate or resentment towards him, and she wants to let it go and let it God, justice still needs to be had. And that's exactly what happened that day. And her sister, Tanisha's sister, she did not ask for mercy. She wants accountability. As of today, Shepard's conviction and sentence remain unchanged. Thankfully, okay? He did try to get an appeal back in 2011. That appeal was denied. Shepard appealed his conviction, but the Texas 14th Court of Appeals affirmed his guilty verdict in January 2011, finding no legal errors in his trial. No further appeals or parole news since then. There's been no indication of new appeals, motions, or changes. He's still serving his 99-year sentence plus a $10,000 fine. And again, to even think that anything is going to change within your case is just crazy. Between DNA evidence, bone fragments in the garbage disposal, and compelling forensic testimony, courts have upheld the verdict again and again and again. They're standing on business about his verdict, as they should. The self-defense claim was dismissed as not credible. Prosecutors and jurors saw it as a bunch of BS. No new investigation or motion has been publicized since 2011, so legally, this case is considered closed. If anything changes, appeals, parole petitions, legal challenges, I will be the first to keep you posted on everything. So here's how we leave it guilty gang, okay? Tynesha Stewart came home for spring break to laugh with her friends, get her hair done, and sing her lungs out at the Beyonce concert at the Texas Rodeo. Instead, her story ended at the hands of a man who could not let go. That's just what it is. He could not let go. A grown, bitter predator who thought possession was love. He tried to erase her, but look at us years later, still saying her name and still telling her story. Timothy Shepard is rotting in prison with 99 years to his name, and good. I'm glad. I don't give a damn. Let him rot in there. Literally. Let him rot. 99 years is a very long time, okay? And like I said, that's not nearly enough time for the time that he took, for the life that he took, my bad, but it's a start. And every time we remember Tanisha, every time we speak her truth, he fails at what he was set out to do, or what he did set out to do. Rest in peace, Tanisha. You were brilliant, you were beautiful, and you were only 19. Your light deserves to shine so much longer. Thank y'all for tapping into the Talkin Guilty podcast today. Don't forget to subscribe and drop a comment with your thoughts and share this with somebody who needs to hear it. I'm Mya. I'll see y'all next time. But until then, stay safe, stay aware, and as always, keep talking guilty.